Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. I
Yo.
think our episodes are up in the teens now. This is incredible. Didn't know that. I'm here and we're here. We're going to get going. John's got some questions and we'll see where it goes. What's up, John?
Brendan, are we living in the Matrix? Is the world that we live in real or not?
Oh, um,
Is this a computer simulation of some kind?
I want to just spring to an answer, but I'm like, I don't know about the consequences of the answer because all right, is it real? No, but then we'd have to be very careful with what we say when we say real. So I think that's the kicker, and it does not appear to be real. And yet within objective reality, there's stuff that's real. What we call real isn't real. What we call real, well, okay, maybe wrong terms. Like it's real, but is it true? Ultimately, no.
What's the difference between real and true?
In this case, the way that I'm thinking about it, like true is like what it is. That
What
would
its
be,
true nature is?
yeah, that's true. And that's ultimately real. That's ultimately
Okay.
what is real, and so that compared to that, none of this is real as far as I can tell. Like there is nothing really real going on here except that there seems to be an experience and then the experience goes away. And that's like all we got. Like even wow, we just digging right in. So let me see. Oh fuck my brain. Where are you coming from asking the question?
Okay, so yeah, a few places all at the same time. Does that help?
Yeah, no, not yet.
No, not yet. All right. So first off, there are folks who say that we're living in a simulation. People like Elon Musk say that there's an incredible chance that we're living in a simulation. Like this reality is literally a computer simulation that's built, probably nested within another computer simulation and another and
Oh, the
so on. Like,
infinite. Yeah, no.
yeah, all that stuff.
Right. That no.
So that's not the reality. That's not
No.
the truth.
No.
Okay. You're 100% on that. You can just say, sorry, Elon,
Sorry,
I
dude.
have personal insight into the situation,
Yeah.
and it's just not the case.
Yeah, I've heard, yeah. It's an argument and it's an intellectual based argument that just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Okay. Okay. So it's like irrelevant then?
Yeah.
Okay. It's basically like, who cares?
Or so then like, well, Brendan, you should probably argue the point. Well, what happens after you die?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like all of the computer simulation, all of the ideas, all of the blah blah blah. Well, we could be a computer simulation, but then how do you know we're not in a computer simulation because this could be part of the simulation? It's like, well, don't know. And yet I stand on the possibility that you can become conscious of what is, regardless of perception, regardless of life or death. How is that possible? I don't fucking know.
It's amazing.
And that kind of
So
throws a wrench in the works because it's like, are you conscious of something that doesn't live or die?
yeah, are you just thinking
Or are you just
about like
thinking
what
about
this
it?
stuff is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could see how that thought process could occur. It's like, of course, yeah. Well, if I look at it and I do enough science, I think even science is going far enough down. They can't answer. There's a lot of unanswered questions in science.
Yeah.
Like they don't know what electricity is, for example.
Well, so
And like
continuing with, go ahead.
yeah, like they don't know what it is and like we don't know what objects are. Like I don't know if it's just atoms moving around, it's not actually what we see. So then it could be, well, what we see isn't really true. It's actually atoms. But then what makes the atoms move around?
Hmm.
And what makes atoms exist from where did they come, or something like that. And then and then it gets quantum, and then quantum starts to defy rational thinking. And then, like, where does it stop, really? Let
Well,
me see. Yeah.
let me ask you another question, and then maybe we can connect it with some scientific or at least rational thought.
Sure. Okay, let me complete this thought. I think
Okay.
where I was going with this thought, this current thought, is that I can see where that thinking would come from, because what we see isn't what is, it's what we
Hmm.
see is. But science says, hey, no, that's not actually there. So then, ergo, what I'm seeing isn't real. Ergo, it could be a matrix, it could be a computer simulation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Last thought on that. In the 1800s, those motherfuckers were not thinking about computers and simulations. I bet.
No.
'Cause computers didn't exist. Just a thought. Anyway. So go ahead. You had a place to go.
Yeah. So here's the place to go. So here's another question that might be the same question.
Hmm.
What is primary? Experience or consciousness?
What do you mean by primary?
Chicken or the egg? All this stuff
Oh, like what
or
came
what's really
first?
true? Yeah.
Well,
What's causal? Is there cause?
I don't know. I don't know about cause, because consciousness just seems to be is. That
Mm-hmm.
also includes no time.
Mm-hmm.
So time, first, last, causing, that's relative.
Okay.
you know, like, we have why a cause? Why do
Why
we
a
need a
cause?
cause?
Cause.
Just cause. Motherfucker, is just cause.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, I think it's stuff, when we're going absolute, stuff breaks down pretty quick,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we want to think in terms of, like, this causes that, because that's the world we live in. Like, this seems to have a cause. Like, if you throw an egg, it splatters. It's like, why did that happen? Well, I caused it to, and there's process and time and
Does the true nature of things, in your experience, and well, in your consciousness, allow for, so to speak,
seems that way.
all this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So seems to me that um, the true nature of things is primary, because all this does not allow for the true nature of things. It comes and goes.
Sure. I
See?
mean, you could say it if, yeah, I mean, primary synonymous with the truth, but thinking about it as such
Yeah.
is a challenge. I
Hmm.
mean, no, it's not a challenge to think about it as such. I just, as you know from me, also being trained by via Ralston, and lots of contemplation and considering things, and then also just the spirit of the work that I do, I'm also careful, intentionally careful in my speech as best I can, to not promote people into a belief system about X, Y, or Z, but more to invite them to consider for themselves the reality of X, Y, or Z, because I think that's ultimately more empowering.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For
I go
sure.
I go down those roads a lot, and that makes my speech halting. And then my real intent behind my speaking is to give the listener the best chance that I can, in a sense, and also toot my own horn, and because I think it's fascinating to think about, and I'd like to nerd out on stuff like this. So there's like kind of two aspects where I want people to get it for themselves, which is incredible, and fucking blow your mind, and I like to talk about it too.
Yeah.
And sometimes those don't go together, or they're not pointed in the same direction. So you got to balance them, take some care. So I sometimes take some care like that. But
Okay, then could we put like a warning that this is for a few minutes a nerd out?
okay, warning, it's going to be a nerd out. So I
Yeah.
can speak freely. Is that what we're doing here?
I always, but this is not coming. Yeah, this is like hypothetical conjecture, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Warning, we're about to get hypothetical. Use it for entertainment only. And if you're doing this work, immediately throw it away.
Don't even listen.
Don't listen. Just turn it off.
Okay, so you know how like a three-dimensional video game world is only rendered where the subject is, the player?
Yeah.
Like there's a shit ton of data there, but the computer's only generating it right where the perception is.
Sure.
Now, like, we can't find evidence that that isn't the case here. You might say, well, like, yeah, I left my keys there and then I came back and my keys are still there,
Right.
but
Do
the same
they
thing happens in the
exist
video
when I'm
game.
not aware of them, kind of thing?
Yeah, that whole like, does a tree make a sound if it falls in a forest, no one's around kind of deal?
Yeah.
Well, so I'd never thought about it before until recently, but the the double slit experiment with electrons, they fire some electrons through, and
They
the
act
damn
as both a
things,
wave and a particle.
based on whether they are observed or not. And the
Yeah.
wild thing is that they're waves, which essentially means they're potentially fucking anywhere, and they're just spread out all over the place as a wave, or they're exact particles, exact location when they're observed.
Yeah.
And the thing is that if you don't observe them up to a certain point, you can they are waves, and they leave traces of being waves. And then you start observing them at another point, they become particles, and from that perspective, they're particles all the way back where they were waves. So it's like their reality changes backwards in time, like it fills in the gaps.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So far, so good. I think. Let me report back. It's like if I observe, but so I cannot like half observe up to a certain point and catch them being waves.
Yeah, so it's like if you fire them through a slit, they'll come out and they hit a paper or they hit something on the other side. They leave marks, and those marks
They'll
come out as like
spread.
ripples, like a wave.
Right.
Okay. But if you if nobody's watching, and then you just see the wave patterns. But then if they put a camera, or not a camera, it's like a sensor that can detect these things and watch the particle go through, then they come out on the other side as little like bing, little specific points, just based upon their observation. But then if you have the sensor rigged up, and I don't know how they do this,
they gotta fucking trick the particles, but we're not watching you.
We're not watching. Well, no, it's kind of like that. They turn on the sensor right after, and I don't know how fast they do this. This is amazing. They turn on the sensor right after the particle passes through the double slit, but before it hits the other side. And when they do that, it shows up as a wave when it's passing through the double slit, and then as a particle when it goes through the sensor. It hits the side or the end point as a particle, and all the previous stuff where it showed up as a wave turns into particle, going backwards in time.
Backwards in time?
Literally, from the perspective. It's like it was definitely a wave, and it was definitely a particle in the past, based solely on if it's being observed or not.
Okay.
Which is exactly how video games function. If the rendering of data into perceivable form is based upon the subject. And so that gets me kind of to bringing it back to, again, maybe dangerous territory.
No,
not necessarily simulation like as in a computer.
Yeah.
Because who cares? But Consciousness is as if rendering the reality that we need for a purpose based upon rules.
Yeah, I mean, I would make a distinction. Well,
And we can see it in this when we look down
consciousness
at.
doesn't render shit, but survival does.
Yeah, there's some rules set in place.
Yeah, there's
Something.
definitely rules. You see, I drop things, it falls. If I have integrity, I have integrity. If I lie, there's consequences. If I lift weights, I get strong. There's rules.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
many more. There's stuff
Mm-hmm.
about how mind functions, how perception happens.
Yeah.
You ever notice that lots and lots of creatures have these things in their head and they're all kind of shaped the same way?
Eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of weird. Many different creatures, but we all have these weird shaped objects in our heads, but they're all kind of the same. And we know, oh, yeah, that sort of does the same thing this one does. There's rules for objects and organic forms too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so go on. Yeah. And, or,
So I guess I was trying to connect those two ideas that the absolute truth of things allows for this experience, and
Sure.
this notion that we're in like a video game. It's not literally like a video game, but
Right. It seems to, and I suspect, yeah. I bet that the reason that video games are the way they are is because of reality is the way it is.
mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, isn't it true that when you are having an experience right now, and I am too, you see, it's of this, but I'm not behind me except when I look here.
Mm-hmm.
The behind me is a concept. And then I
Mm-hmm.
turn around, it becomes a perception. Then I turn back around, it becomes a concept again.
Mm-hmm.
And where I go, I have a limited sight field always, and it's limited to what I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Ergo, render. And that's the way it is. And I cannot see infinitely.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that is. And then I also live within the concept that there is an outside and it is permanent and it will still be there when I go out there. And
Mm-hmm.
it keeps being there. So that's good. And
Certainly functional for the video game.
very functional. So I can see how, we would likely model the video games off of that without knowing it. I would guess, because that's what works.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So where are we at with this? Is it the Matrix?
Right here.
Oh, we're now here again.
Yeah, we're now here again.
Yeah, that's what I called the podcast, but I don't tell people, "Hey, welcome to the Now Here podcast."
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
So let's see. Is it the Matrix? You're gonna have to figure that the fuck out. That's what to do there. I can make some claims, right? And then we can go back and forth. Ultimately, the back and forth is intellectual and fun, by the way. Nothing wrong with it. For me, it's fun. I assume it's fun for you. Is that true?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's fucking fun. And we're having fun. And I do believe there are things to discover, and you can discover for yourself, like what it is. For example, when I probably told you this, but a metaphor for having had an enlightenment experience is it's like danger. It's not like danger. There's nothing dangerous. Dangerous is relative. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's like we're in a painting, a video game, or whatever, you see, and everything done. This is the painting, and everything done within the painting is just more painting. It's like if I'm a painted character on the thing, you're a painted character, this whole room, whatever, anything you can possibly experience is just more of the same. It's more painting, or in this conversation, it'd be like more of the video game, right? It's like I'm an avatar within a video game. This is a room, but it's all within the video game. And I could even want to get conscious and sit down but that would be an avatar in a video game sitting down trying to get conscious. Oh, I see. I see the danger of the thinking here. I'm saying video game, right? No, painting. And then I get conscious that, oh my God, this is a painting. Like I get conscious of what I really am, which is, a canvas upon which the painting can be created. The origin, because no canvas, no paint for sure. It's just not going to happen. But the canvas is not the paint. It never is, never was. And all things happen on the canvas, like time, like quantum mechanics, like science, like perception, like life and death. All of that is more painting. And so getting conscious is like getting conscious of the canvas. And then I go, holy smokes, look at this painting.
Yeah.
And that one. Holy fuck. I thought I was in here.
Yeah.
I thought I was a painting. Man, was I wrong. Holy shit. Like, how? Wow. See, so then sure. You have some spiritual mumbo jumbo people talking like this. I could easily see it going to, well, it's a simulation. Yeah, because it's in a certain way, it's damn fucking close. It's something that happens, and none of what we see is really true. Because for example, like I see this, what does a bug see? They don't see that. So what's the real one? Like, what's the truth? It's not. It's just what I see. And then a bug sees, well, yeah, what do you think? A bug sees a table like you do? Fuck no. It doesn't even have a table. We have tables. Bugs probably don't. They're like, I can walk on that, but they don't have walking, and they don't have language, and they don't have
or
thinking.
I.
Or I, yeah, maybe I is like colony. What we're individuals. The bugs, certain bugs, probably like I am this thing. That's all these individuals. Imagine we don't live that world. So yeah, totally made up. Not true, but that doesn't mean not happy. It's temporary. Just because it isn't what we live isn't ultimately real or true. That's not a bad thing, because bad and good is still within the not real, not true. You get it? You get it?
Oh.
All that bad and good, like good and bad, is also made up. And some of it's made up really powerfully. Like there's other stuff that I think maybe is very biological. That's, for the most part, killing is wrong. But I wonder how much of that is made up social stuff.
All of it.
I was just thinking, like cave people, what? Like, you steal my woman, I bash you over the head with a rock. Okay, problem solved. Move on. That's like an animal. Like, is an animal killing an animal bad? It's probably not.
So I've got a question about that.
So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So like, okay. Tear apart my assumptions, and then maybe answer the question if it's a good one.
All right, let's see what happens.
All right. So you're going through this life in this painting, this video game.
Yeah.
You're the absolute, but you don't know that.
Yeah, no.
All right. I see two possible ways of playing this game. One is for survival as something.
Okay.
Another way is maybe that's the same thing on two different levels. I'm tearing it apart as I speak it.
Yeah, right away I'm like, we always survive as something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we can set that aside temporarily. Keep going. What's your thought?
Okay. Another possibility is to become conscious.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're not exclusive.
They're non-exclusive. And then I would say that, like, for a human being, and this is maybe big caveat, and everyone can discount this or you tear it apart if you like. But
Sure.
for a human being, survival that means anything has a lot to do with integrity. It's like,
Hmm.
keep your integrity. That's what is like the baseline. Like, if you're going to play the video game and the point of the game is to get to the end of the video game and go through the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, eventually the video game ends. You're not going to live forever, or the game stops, but you do get to the end of the game. That's the why do you play the game? Well, to win the game. And for a human being, winning the game is integrity.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, you get to the end of the game, you die.
You die.
That's
So, like, the video game ends, or the painting ends, just like the whatever, like real life.
sure.
But for us, like, the baseline of uh how well you're doing, if you wanted to base it on anything, is integrity, which is
Yeah, I mean, I think that gets into the domain of how to live,
telling people how to live. Yeah.
which I don't do. I mean, and to add to what you said, I think, yeah, there's many possibilities. Like, look at what people do that in life. You've got a range from Hitler to Mother Teresa to Gandhi to Newton
Sure.
to Stalin to everything in between. The ultimate worst and the ultimate, we see worst and best, but mass murderer, sick, fucked up, twisted human being, and like clear, conscious, healthy, loving, empowered, empowering human. The worst of the worst and the best of the best and everything in between. So, there does seem to be now taking what you said, there do seem to be ways of living that are fulfilling and good. And what I mean by good is like healthy, powerful, effective, having integrity versus not, you know. And it does seem that if I live by certain rules, or in the way that I think about it, and I'm sure you know about it, is like principles. There's like principles of operation that allow for an experience of being a human that is like really, really good. Like I bet guys that are in uh, special ops that have a team and they're tight and they do life and death shit together with a band of brothers, they get a certain experience that other humans do not get because they don't go there. And
Mhm.
it's a very powerful, very freeing, probably, experience. And because they've sacrificed their self for a team, and they got guys that have their back, or girls. I'm just saying, there's power there. And is that a good experience? Yes. Why is that a good experience? I don't know.
Well, why is winning the video game a good experience?
Well, we don't
It's
win. Oh, winning. You're saying winning is,
so,
what is winning?
so that's what I'm saying, is like, so I'm getting a little philosophical here.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was laughing about it to myself earlier because I recognize it was philosophy.
Yeah.
But that yeah, that let's be real. Like, people's experience of being alive is improved greatly when their integrity is intact,
Seems
and it
that way. It's a much
suffers. and
better.
and
Yeah.
it's not, that's like universal, that's across the board, that's like
Right.
things fall down.
Right. This is why I say these. Yeah. This is why I say shit
Yeah,
like that, because it's like a rule. It's like a law. Who
right.
made
So,
the
like,
law? Don't care. It just seems to work that way. If it worked a
but
different way, we'd be talking about anyway, talking
yeah,
differently.
yeah. So, like, it is the case. So,
Yeah.
like, and
Seems
if
to
you
be the case.
play, Super Mario Brothers, and you're not trying to get to the end and, like, beat Bowser and rescue Peach, well, then what are you doing? Because that's what Super Mario Brothers is. And if you're a human being constantly destroying your own integrity, what are you doing? Because what is a human being? As a human being in this relative world, has a lot to do with our word and our actions relative to what we understand of the truth, honestly, and that's integrity, from
Sure.
the way I understand it. And it's like, if you're not doing that, what are you doing?
You're doing something else.
You're doing something else. And is
And
it as fulfilling? Probably not.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's not a requirement, and you don't have to go to the end of the video game and like get Bowser and rescue Peach.
No. And we're
You don't
also
have to.
like I think what's missing from the picture here is you're talking about the good shit.
Mm.
There's also the bad shit. Like I hear of people that live in a really fucked up world, or they psychologically damaged individuals that got beat and raped when they were young, and their mind is fucked, and they have to act out patterns of destruction and self-hatred and unhealthy stuff, because with good comes bad. That's also a law. With powerful comes weak. They're not separate. So then, I would add that to the conversation too, that there's more going on than just, we could make a point of, yeah, I'm going to live for integrity because I recognize the power or some such, or because I'm like, fuck, that seems, I get a taste and I'm like, shit, that's good. It's powerful. It works. Cool. I'm going to do that. Other people, they may not even know. They're just trying to put food on the table, and they're fucked up, and they're maybe in an abusive relationship, and it's just, and they don't have the tools or the knowledge or the desire to get out of their current situation, because there's another aspect of mind, as is the excuses in the storytelling and mistaking those for reality, and then blaming circumstance for how I feel. And that gets locked in like a reality. All the assumptions, or what am I? Like, what's the real me? If I mistakenly think that the real me is some disgusting creature, then I will have to live and perpetuate a disgusting creature, because there's something going on, or what we call survival. Come to a workshop, come to the ENB here. That drives us to be something. And if we think that thing is disgusting, then we have to be that. And we'll form up our whole reality around being that. And it's a mistaken assumption ultimately. So it's just like, there's a lot going on that I wanted to add to the picture to give a more complete picture. As you can see, like I see shit in myself that is unhealthy, or I'm still trapped in habits of mind. I'm like, what am I doing? This is painful. It's suffering. And it's against others, and for what? And I still comes up sometimes. Huh? Why am I doing this? Oh, enlightened one. You see, and I'm sure you see stuff like that in yourself. And then, it's just, yeah. So, and then on it goes. So how's that affecting our conversation?
Yeah, it's like it's sobering.
Yeah.
It's sobering, it's calming. It's like, yes, and reality is not a video game. Video games have a kind of perfection oriented towards one purpose.
Right.
Of one way to go, and the reality that human beings are born into are myriad, diffuse, and often
messy,
terrible and messy.
And could be great, and even great ones. The other thing recently, talking to a woman I know, and she's telling me about her interactions with wealthy people. They are fucked up too. Money does not equal health. Money does not equal mental health. Like, yeah, people have, I think just people period. After listening to enough stories about her interactions, I'm like, oh, right, I forgot. They're people. What do you think, they have a perfect life? No, they're trapped just like everybody else where they're trapped, and they're fucked up just like everybody else where they're fucked up, and they're unhealthy just like everybody else that's unhealthy. They just got more money or more fame or more status.
Yeah.
And for some reason I thought somehow it's the hidden assumption, like, oh, you get money, that makes a difference. Nope. Wrong again.
So, so at the risk of being in the habit of bad habits and promoting ideas of how to live and all that, could you say that all of that was terrible situations, horrible things that happen to people when they're young, the very hard situations that we're born into or that we just live into or perpetuate, are as if the obstacles in the video game that seduce us into sacrificing our own integrity, often unbeknownst to us?
You could hold it that way, sure, if you want.
I think I do.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like it.
I think I do. It sounds useful. It sounds like, look at everything as oh yeah, this is just another, yeah, I see what you're up to.
Oh, you see what I'm up to?
No.
Oh, what you're
It's
doing. Yeah. It sounds like when you're asking the question or considering it, my cosmology bells started going off. I'm like,
yes,
oh,
that's what I'm saying. It's
he like holds
cosmology.
reality that way as a fixed, like, and that's the world that you're living within, it seems to me in this case. And then as we're dialoguing, I'm sure it's getting some holes punched in it in a certain sense. And yeah, but it's like, oh, that's how you see it. You can see it that way if you want.
What is the difference between communication and power? Power over, power under.
Well, I mean, communication is communication and power is power. So the difference is, there you go.
When I speak to people, am I usually communicating with them?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, it depends again on how you hold communication, but in the work that we do, we hold communication as getting one experience across to another human being. That's it. That it gets across. There's like a shared experience. I get that. I get it. We're in communication. It's not I say something to trigger you to do something else. That's more like a manipulation or something like that. Whereas communication is just communicating the raw experience and getting it across, and then you don't have to do anything with that. You just get it, and that's it. That's my baseline when I say communication. So now my communication could be powerful or not. So that means we have a different distinction for power than we do for communication.
When you say get communicate something, do you mean get something across intellectually? Do you mean get across an experience, like I see what you see?
Yeah,
do you mean I grok it?
It's kind of
like have an insight.
Yeah, maybe kind of like that, where it's like somehow it's possible to get, somebody can have an experience over here, some knowledge or an insight perhaps, and via this medium of sound or written word even or body language, I can do the dance, and then somehow something gets over there. That could be maybe a complete picture or a limited view, or something gets across that is aligned with my experience. And it does seem like it's like an organic thing. And it's not like you get everything, but maybe you get a part of it. And then maybe you get sort of, oh, wow, the whole thing. Got it. Are you going to have the thoughts that I have? No. Will you understand, for example, like I have a memory of grasping, sort of like getting wholesale what Peter's talking about in, like, say, the ENB and survival, like, oh, kind of the whole thing all at once, one time.
Mm.
Oh, and then I got, oh, that's why he's talking like this. That makes sense. Of course he would say that. Yes, 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 yes. Like all kind of lined up. It's like, but because I got the communication, oh, that's what he's been trying to say. Okay. And then why he would think this and why he might say that and why, oh yeah, I can work my way through that kind of thing. Whereas before I might have heard it, but I didn't really hear it. So on one side, I didn't get the communication, like that, those thoughts maybe make sense. But then after I get it, I'm like, oh, now it really makes sense. No. I was wrong before this, and on it goes. So about getting communication, yeah, it seems to go that way.
So for like your example with survival, after you got Peter's communication, after you got what he was trying to say, I'll bet that really empowered your own ability to talk about survival.
Of course, yeah. Just like, Newton getting hit in the head with an apple and having an insight about gravity. He's like, got it. I can see it. I understand it. I can talk about it. Many ways, something like that.
So communication is almost, like an insight that passes between people somehow.
Yeah, seems that way. And it can be a simple thing too, like, somebody, I'm angry at you, and oh, got it.
Oh.
You're angry, huh? Or
so there's a quality of getting it for itself, not for you.
Yeah, and what we mean by for itself is like it's just what it is, not what. Yeah, not for me. It's what it is for itself. Like that's it. Not what do I do with it, not what do I feel about it, not do I like it, do I not like it. It's just, oh, that. In short. Seems that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. What is love?
I don't know. That's funny. We actually did a video on that fairly recently. Somebody wrote into the forum. You can write into my forum, by the way. Just go to my website. It helps me create content for you, so please do that. The links are in the description. Somebody wrote in about love and truth and stuff like that. And the way I see love, of course, there's like intimate love, like I love you. There's like a strong feeling, loving somebody or have a lot of love. It's like an opening, not a closing. It's a like heartfelt feeling. And then I see it like if you love, it's like, can you love Hitler? See, and then what would that be? See, I use that because it's like maybe a litmus test of some kind. It's like, well, it seems like radical acceptance, like full on. You're that way. I get it. I love you. Now, I don't love your fucking behavior.
Yeah, I love you, and I need to kill you.
And I'm gonna kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it as gently as possible, but you're gonna die.
Yeah. I love you, and your life's gotta end. So then what is love? I think it's in that direction. I think there's love. I think we already love each other. And I brought this up in the video. Like there's a part in the workshop that strikes me every time I read it and every time I'm facilitating. And if you want to do a workshop, come do one. And it's outside of the buried love you have for everybody else. There's all this other stuff. The buried love that you have.
The buried love.
Yeah, the love that you already have for everybody. See, I was talking to Peter. He's like, yeah, ultimately, you're the same
Mm.
They're you.
Mm-hmm.
We're not separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think within that sameness, we're already in love,
Mm.
like loving one another. Because when I strip away all the crap and all the manipulations and all my own suffering, and you need to be some way that you're not, and you should be some way, and it's your fault that I feel this way. If I destroy all that shit, the only thing left is like just here with you.
Mm.
So check it out. So what is that? I think it's like maybe recognition of it's already the case. I don't know.
Yeah, it's already the case. A lot like, well, other things that are already the case and
Yeah.
always will be.
But I think it's like maybe a baseline, possibly a baseline, or So what is that? It's like I don't know, because there's also intimate love, like oh, I'm in love with you and I want to fuck you. I
Yeah,
want to
there
be
there are
with you. Like
roles that we
there's
play. Yeah.
yeah, and then there is love.
Uh-huh.
What is really loving a human being?
Yeah.
You know, okay, so maybe I have an intimate partner, but we're never intimate, but I still love them. So then sex is off the table, but I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, in that direction.
Okay. What is death?
Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm.
That's a challenging question. I think it's useful to become conscious of something that doesn't live or die to help answer that question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Come to a contemplation intensive.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. I figure I got to keep plugging stuff. And little by little, I think it's working. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to turn it around.
All right.
So anyway, how
Boom, bada,
many? We're at
boom.
9:03. How we doing?
We're
Please tell
good.
me I hit record. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I hope you did. Um, yeah, we can stop there if you like. I can find some other questions for you if you like.
No,
Up
I
to
think
you.
I think we're good. I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the podcast so far? Or maybe
I'm
we can
liking
check.
it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm liking it more. It's feeling more like bit like a satsang. What do you call those things?
Satsang.
Yeah, those. A little bit more. And yeah, it's it's a nice exploration, and I kind of get settled into some places, like when you were poking holes into some of my assumptions there about video games, and just that was sobering. And then talking about love, what love really is as a baseline, and I could feel that with you,
Yeah.
and that's real. And that both of those things were like kind of a sobering thing.
Yeah.
And so it's good for me too as an experience.
Yeah. 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 I like it. I think it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
Oh, cool. Sweet. Thanks.
Are we
Um,
are we live? Are you still recording?
Still recording. I'm gonna cut
That's
it
what I
off there.
thought.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Come to a workshop. Also, I did a little thing on a video recently. Well, I guess by the time that this is posted, it will have been weeks ago because we're stacking up episodes, which I think is great. And it's I'm intentionally trying to create a culture, a market, if you will, but a culture of people that are into this shit, into this kind of work. And because I don't see it much in the world, and I imagine that people who are out there that are into this feel quite alone. So my invitation is help me create it because I need your help. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm working on getting better at asking for help because I don't appear to be too good at that. So I'm doing it. So I would like your help if you want this, if you want to form more of a community. I mean, I'm speaking to the people, but like you get it, like help me, would you? I've been doing this in this building for many years. And if you really find value, I think probably the main hurdle for people is they don't have a way to talk about it that makes any fucking sense. And as far as I can tell, we're the weird ones. You're like, you do what kind of work? Yeah, well, it's like mindfulness, but not. It's like meditation, but it's not. And there's not a word for it. Why? Because it's not widely spread. So we need to build it, and then there will be a solid distinction that we can create that's like consciousness work or consciousness and skill worldwide. That then becomes a thing, like Aikido becomes a thing, or yoga became a thing, you see, or martial arts is a thing. And then you see how martial arts is a thing and now MMA is a thing. You see how that happened? Like it was martial arts, but then nobody knew about fighting. And then fighting becomes a thing. And then MMA is now a thing where it was not 30 years ago. So we got to make it happen. So I'm just saying, I need your help. The way you can help, share the videos, tell people, hey, watch this shit. I think it's cool. Come do workshops for sure, because then it gives you, I mean, it supports me. I get to do the work, but it also empowers people in a major way. And otherwise, like there's resources online. You can do contemplation, you can learn, but the main thing is you're going to need some education first. You know, get into it, and then it will help empower you in the rest of your stuff, what you do, and then share it. I think that'd be great. So that's my invitation.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Take care. Bye.